Welcome to the Navy SEAL Mindset. I'm your host, William Bradham, and this is episode 015. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the warrior mindset. I'm going to talk about some leadership stuff, and we'll see where that goes. All right, let's start off this episode with some quotes. The first one is from Sun Tzu, I believe is the OG of the warrior mindset. And he said, every battle is won before it's fought. Think about that. Every battle is won before it's fought. The next quote comes from Christopher Morley, who was an author. He was not a warrior, but he wrote some pretty smart stuff. Wars are won in the mind before they can be won on the battlefield. Wars are won in the mind before they can be won on the battlefield. All right, the last quote says something very similar from Joan of Arc. All battles are won or lost in the mind. I think Christopher Morley actually wraps everything together the most. I think if I were to write this quote out myself or create my own quote, I would say something like, the battles are won or lost in the mind before they're ever fought in combat, or something along those lines. Wars are won or lost in the mind before they're ever fought in combat. So that's going to be my quote. One of the things that got me thinking about this is I have a TED Talk coming up at the end of this week. By the time this episode comes out, I will have already delivered it and I will have crushed it. And that is the mindset that I'm talking about. That's the mindset that I have to go into this TED Talk with, and I have to deliver it with the utmost confidence. That's winning the war before I even fight it. That's winning or losing. If I don't go in with absolute confidence, knowing that I'm going to destroy this TED Talk, if I'm not going to get up there and I'm going to own that stage and I'm going to own that talk, then I've already lost. I have to go into it thinking that exact thing. Why I'm bringing this up is the last Modern Day Night Project class that I taught, one of the guys who used to be a Marine was asking me towards the end of the project, and then we hopped on a call afterwards. He was asking me about leadership and what my thoughts on leadership and how I approach leadership and some things like that. And when I talk to people about leadership, I say the first rule of leadership is you have to lead yourself. You have to lead yourself before you can lead others. And what goes on with that is I'll ask you, how are you showing up? How are you dressed? Do you show up disheveled or do you show up professional? Do you show up early or do you show up on time? When I was a kid, I was a member for a little while of the FFA, the Future Farmers of America. I'm from backwoods Mississippi. And so that was one of the cool things to do. Although I was too poor to have my parents buy one of the cool jackets or go on any of the trips, so I was only in that organization for a short amount of time. But one of the oaths or the creeds, one of the sayings that they had is, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're left. Are you showing up early? If you're showing up early, you're on time. If you're showing up on time, you're already late. And if you show up late, then you're already left. There's no reason to even show up. That's leadership right there. What are you eating? What's your diet look like? Do you eat a bunch of shit food? Do you eat a bunch of crap? Or do you eat healthy, clean food? Do you give yourself permission to have dessert every single night? I think that's okay, as long as you earned it every single day. If you earned dessert 10 years ago, and you're still giving yourself dessert every single night, you didn't earn it. You're not leading yourself. Lead yourself first. What's your workout look like? How often do you work out? What's your fitness routine? I believe that fitness is the key to success. If you want to reach the next level of success in anything that you do, you have to work out. You have to be in shape. I don't mean like bodybuilder shape. That's a whole nother level of fitness. And actually, I would argue that that's not even healthy fitness. But I'll tell you that having sponsored a few bodybuilding shows, the amount of discipline that those people have, those men and women that get on that stage basically naked, the amount of discipline they have to achieve the physique that they are achieving is next level discipline, bar none. I believe that is the most complicated, most discipline required sport on the planet. Now, yes, you can use some enhancing products to speed up your muscle gains and things like that, but you still got to work out hard. You still got to eat clean. You still have to get the sleep that you need. You still have to have the discipline that's required to show up and do that, to do those shows, to get the physique that you're looking for. Fitness is absolutely required to achieve anything great in life. If you want to lead yourself, if you want to be a leader, you need to lead yourself first. But that wasn't really the question he was asking. But that's part of the answer that he got. Again, going back to battles are won before they're fought. Sun Tzu. You either win or you lose before you open your mouth as a leader, before you step in the room as a leader. You've already won or lost. You're already leading or you're not leading before you even walk in the room. And some of that is what I like to call, you have to own it. You have to own the stage. You have to own the room. You have to own everything that you do. Own your behavior. Are you proud of your actions at the end of the day? If you're not proud of your actions, you need to change your actions. One of the things that kind of came up during the project was the guys are required to say the creed, the modern day night creed. And I'll just give you the first two lines. It starts with, I am a man of my word. I make a promise and I keep it. Very simple. Those are the first two lines of the creed. There's only a handful of lines to it. But the guys were outside. We stopped messing with them. We gave them time to go and study the creed. Know this perfectly because you're going to be asked it later on in a very stressful environment. And we want you to be able to deliver it without question. And so these guys went outside and they were practicing with one another, saying it back and forth to one another. And I walked outside, and sometimes the guys really like me and sometimes they're afraid of me. And this was one of the times where I just wanted to get to know guys and listen, I'm not here to like mess with you or make you do some stupid thing. I actually am genuinely curious, like how you guys are doing, why you're here, what can I do to help support you? And they were practicing their creed, and I just listened to them, each one of them go. And this is the way they would say the creed. I'm a man of my word. I make a promise and I keep it. Every single guy was saying it exactly the same way. Now, does that show confidence? Does that show leadership? When you say the creed, this thing that you're supposed to believe in, I'm a man of my word. I make a promise and I keep it. If you're asking the question, if there's a question mark at the end or your tone goes to a higher pitch, that does not instill confidence. That does not show leadership. That does not show that you own the creed, that you believe in the creed, you believe in what you're saying. So when I get on stage, I have to actually imagine that I'm going into war. I say that stage before I speak in front of, I don't care if it's 10 people, 6 people, or 1,000 people. I have to go in with the exact same mindset. I have to go in saying, I'm winning. I fucking own the stage. I own this place. I own this presence. I own this room. When I walk into a room, I fucking own it. When I walk into a room, you know that I'm there. I'm not trying to be the gray man. I'm not trying to be the silent professional. When I walk into a room, I'm judging other people immediately, and I expect them to judge me. I want to know who's the big dog, who am I competing with? Who is a high performer? Who are the people that I want to be surrounded by? One of the guest instructors at the project last class, his name is Chris Cavallini. He runs an 8-figure food prep company. One of the things he said to me was, he was like, hey, we pretty much say the exact same message. And if you follow Chris on Instagram, he is jacked. He is yoked. He is a very strong, very well-built man. And I can say that with utmost confidence. He's a good-looking man and he's put together very well. But he cares about his body and he leads from the front in everything he does. And he's like, hey, we say pretty much the same thing. We just use some different words, but our message is the same. He's a high performer. I want to be surrounded by high performers. I remember meeting Chris for the first time. I didn't actually meet him. I just judged him from a distance. I'm like, I'm not sure if I like you or not. You seem like an asshole. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Like professionally, personally, such a good guy. I hung out with him for a week during the project. I'll do pretty much anything. If that guy calls me in the middle of the night, yo, I need some help, I will get on an airplane and I'll be there. Number one, because he leads first. He leads from the front. He leads in his physicality. He leads in his reputation. He leads in his willingness to help others. That's leadership. He led himself first, and now people will follow him. You have to lead yourself first, but you have to have confidence. You have to own yourself. You have to own the environment that you're in. Again, going back to the creed, every one of those guys, they were saying it, I'm a man of my word. That doesn't instill confidence. right before they were out kind of hanging out, studying the creed by themselves, several of us gave some presentations, gave a bunch of classes. And one of the things that I do when I give my presentation is I do Man in the Arena by Teddy Roosevelt. And when I deliver it with passion, with authority. There's no question that I don't believe a word that I'm saying. I own it. I fucking own it. And that was the example that I shared with him. I was like, so when you hear me say Man in the Arena, the poorest way to face a life is to face it with a sneer. Does that sound like I'm asking any questions? I'm telling you. So now let's reverse that. Let's say, now I'm saying the creed. I am a man of my word. I make a promise and I keep it. Very different. I'm a man of my word. I make a promise and I keep it. Or I am a man of my word. I make a promise and I keep it. Very different. You have to own it. That's the beginning stages of leadership. Lead yourself first. You win the battle first. You win the battle in your mind and in your heart and in your soul before you ever step out on the battlefield, before you ever step in that room of people that you're supposed to lead. When you're a leader, are you showing up prepared? Did you make notes? Do you know what the meeting is going to be about? Or are you just in there just to tell people what to do and then leave and expect people to follow your direction, but not your leadership? That's the warrior mindset. Prepare for the battle before you actually enter the battle. You know whether you're going to win or not. Have you done the physical preparation? Have you done the mental preparation? Have you done the visualization that's required for you to actually win? That's how you win in life. You win in your mind. You win in your heart. You win in your soul before you ever win on the battlefield. That's the warrior mindset. That's everything that you need to know. You have to go in and you have to own it. This takes practice. It doesn't mean you go in and you're cocky. You're not an asshole. You can go in and be very confident. You go in confident, you become confident from practicing, from rehearsing, from trying new things. That builds confidence. That builds resilience. Doesn't matter if things don't go your way, because you practiced, because you rehearsed, because you visualized, because you owned it. Those are the things that make a great leader. That is the essence of the warrior mindset. We have a saying in the military. We actually had this saying before 9/11 and more so after 9/11. And it goes something, the saying is something like, the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in war. It's 100% true. The more you prepare for combat, the less casualties you'll have during combat. Now, the enemy always gets a vote. The enemy always gets lucky. But the more prepared you are for life, for adversity, for anything else that's coming your way, the more prepared you are, the more you've visualized, the more prepared, the better the outcome will be when life throws you a curveball. When you're given this new position of leadership, when you take this new position of leadership, be prepared for that position of leadership. Be prepared for that combat. Be prepared for that battle, the battle of life, the battle of leadership, the battle that you're going to face, because you're going to face it every single day. Every day I wake up, I'm going into combat. I compete against myself. I'm combating against myself. I'm combating against my ego. My ego says, you don't need to work out today. You're in good enough shape. You're 50 years old. And I have to tell my ego to suck it, Trebek. I have to go work out. I'm only as good as I am today. No one cares about how good I was yesterday. If you ever were curious about the warrior mindset, the Navy SEAL mindset, that's it. You have to own it. You go in and you prepare every single day for what life may throw at you. You go in and you prepare every single day for the battle that you're going to be in, because you know you're going to be in a battle. It could be with yourself. It could be with someone else. It could be with your business. It could be with your leadership. It could be with a significant other. Go in prepared for combat. The more prepared you are, the more likely you are to win. Win the war before the battle even starts. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Again, my name is William Branham. This is the Navy SEAL Mindset, and this episode was 015, the warrior mindset. You guys stay awesome. Don't forget to get naked, and I'll talk to you soon. Hey, this is William Branham, retired Navy SEAL, 26 years of service, and I have a free gift for you. Go to 5sealsecrets.com, the number 5, SEAL as in Navy SEAL, 5sealsecrets.com, go download your free copy of these 5 SEAL secrets, and I'll give you a secret. The secret is naked. Naked is an acronym. Go over there and find out what it is. 5sealsecrets.com. Totally free. All you got to do is give me your name and email so I can send that to you, and it's all yours. Then you can start learning how to think like a Navy SEAL. Talk to you guys soon.